So to start off with, could you please tell us some personal experience that you have wonderfully had with Sathya Sai Baba himself, teaching you the Gayatri Mantra and anything else he's told you during that process?
Well, I must say that I was blessed by Swami to have been taught the Gayatri Mantra personally by him. This was on the 29th of December 1999.
Wow.
In that interview, I asked Swami about some words that some devotees had problems with. And instead of answering what those words should be, he started teaching me the whole Gayatri Mantra.
Amazing.
And he repeated it line after line, made me repeat it after him until he was sure that I had the whole Gayatri Mantra correct. In the chanting of the Gayatri, he taught me this way. Bhur-bhuva swaha tat savitur-varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na Now, some things that are very important here is that first of all, the Om is one long, complete Om. It's not Om Bhur Bhuva, a short Om.
Sure.
He made it clear there should be one complete Om, a long, complete Om. And then one of the questions which devotees wanted to be answered about was concerning the Swaha. Because some were saying it's Swaha, and there were many variations. But it's really Swaha.
Sure.
That A at the end has to be prolonged.
Right.
Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam. There again, that Varenyam, that N in Varenyam is a palatal N.
Right.
And the M has to vibrate on the lips until it dies into silence.
Right, perfect.
Bhargo devasya dhimahi. During the interview, I said dhimahi, and he was not very pleased with that. He wanted the dhi to be a very strong dhi. So he shouted at me, he said, dhi, as in buddhi. So I repeated the line, Bhargo devasya dhimahi. And then he shook his head, that's okay. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. This is the way the Swami has taught me. So I'm going to repeat it. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo devasya dhimahi Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Swami has made it clear that the Gayatri Mantra is the most important mantra in all the Vedas. Many devotees today, chanting the Vedas, are wondering how many parts of the Vedas they have to chant, how many times, and there's no answer to this. Because all these are just different parts of Veda. In the same way that Gayatri Mantra is a part of the Veda. And the Gayatri Mantra is the mother of the Vedas. All the importance of all the other mantras are incorporated in the Gayatri Mantra. So in chanting the Gayatri Mantra, it's just like you're chanting all the Vedas. All the powers of the Vedas are incorporated into that one mantra that you call the Gayatri Mantra. Which means that it's very important that you chant the Gayatri Mantra. At the same time, Gayatri Mantra can produce quite a lot of positive energy within yourself. But if you're not careful as to what you are eating and drinking and the company that you have, you become just like a sieve, like a colander, like a strainer that strains out back all the positive energy that you've been putting into yourself and just leaving negative energies within yourself.
Right, so in terms of, say, when Swami's talked about sattvic food, good company, purity of thought, word and deed, this is the aspect that's important, not just the chanting. We must purify ourselves
That's
as
right.
well.
It means that you have to use sattvic foods. And here Swami says that if you want a spiritual life, you have to even stop using onions and garlic. And you should stop using spicy foods.
Right.
Again, it's not just what goes into the mouth, but what goes into all the senses. Through the ears, through the eyes, through the nostrils, through touch of the skin. You have to be careful about all of this.
Right.
And then you have to be careful also about what is happening in your mind. The food that you eat has a lot to do with what is happening in your mind. As you eat, that's the kind of thought you're going to have. Because the gross part of what you eat comes out as stool. The more subtle part goes to form flesh and bones. And the even subtlest part goes to form the mind.
Sure.
The same thing with what you drink. The gross part of what you drink comes out as urine. The part that's more subtle goes to form lymph and blood. And the part that's subtler still goes to form the mind. So if you're careful about what you're eating and drinking, it means that you can have a very pure mind. So Swami emphasizes a lot about avoiding tamasic foods, rajasic foods, and drinks, and just using sattvic food and drinks.
Right.
But this is not enough. You've got to be careful about the purity of the foods that you're going to cook. Sure. Where did they come from? How were they obtained? Were they obtained by theft?
Right.
Were the foods really pure when you got them? Are they organic or inorganic? Then again, the vessels in which you cook the food in have to be pure. They must be washed, they must be thoroughly cleansed before you cook food in them. Then the other thing is the purity of the person who is cooking the food. Because if that person is not pure, whatever thoughts he has, whatever tendency he has, passes along that arm, through the hand, and into the food as he's cooking it.
Right.
And that can affect you as you go about your spiritual practices. So it's important that if you really want to live a spiritual life, that you take into account all these things.
Right, so it's not what most people take it as is, right, this food is too spicy, so that's tamasic, but actually it's the whole process from collecting the food, the process of preparing it, all the way to the end bit of intake. So the whole thing should be done in purity.
That's right. Also the money that is used to buy the food should be money that is used from honest labor.
Sure, yeah.
So everything is involved there. God is the witness to everything, and He's constantly watching everything that we do.
Right.
So if you want to win God's grace, to get the benefit of the Gayatri Mantra, it means that from moment to moment you have to be observing the kind of food that you eat and the money that you're obtaining. How does it come? From what source does it come? What did you do to get this money? And that money has to be used to obtain food that was produced honestly.
Sure.
All of these things incorporated will help you to have a very pure mind.
Sure. Because as God is one, His whole creation is one, and everything's interconnected. So there are no, it's like, you've reminded me of something where Sai Baba said, with spirituality, there are no shortcuts. Like, he's watching everything, and what he's looking for is pure, honest, genuine devotion. So that's important through the whole process of doing any good deed.
Yes, that's right.